Okay, so you all know Taraji P. Henson has been pretty open about her relationship with alcohol and her mental health journey, and the fact that she had to take a serious step back.
And you know what? I cut out the alcohol too. I just can't recover. Even if I have wine, the next day I'm like, and it's just like, what's the point? You know? So I enjoy my mocktails.
And I've often heard doctors talk about how alcohol, we don't think about it, even just with wine, but just how it can be one of the most deadliest, and not just from a physical perspective, but cognitively, the brain doesn't function the same.
It just does not. We live in a society where if you're not drinking, something's wrong. Girl, why you not drinking? But I found out that I can really enjoy myself sober. Like because you know why? I remember what I did the night before. And once I proved to myself that I could really still go out and really enjoy. In fact, I think I had more fun.
But from the way she talks about it, it gives the impression that she stepped away from alcohol simply because she wanted more clarity and peace. However, from what insiders are now allegedly revealing, Taraji's sobriety break was not some peaceful spiritual reset. It was reportedly a desperate attempt to save a career that was quietly slipping away because of her drinking. Sources are claiming that Taraji was not getting hired because her drinking had allegedly made her a liability on set, and that the real reason she had to pivot toward hosting gigs, indie films, and reality TV guest spots was because major film studios had discreetly drawn a red line through her name. Hollywood blacklisted her under the convenient cover story that she was too expensive and too difficult. But the whispers tell a very different story. Now, I do not know whether this is the industry elites punishing Taraji for speaking out and exposing them, or whether something else entirely is at play. But whatever is happening is clearly affecting her in a major way. And you have to understand that Taraji has never been one to sugarcoat her truth. She has earned both massive respect and fierce criticism for her raw, unfiltered openness about her personal struggles. Instead of maintaining some polished, untouchable Hollywood image, she has candidly shared how intense pressure, career burnout, and severe anxiety once led her to use substances and alcohol to cope and numb out. During an interview on The Breakfast Club, Taraji opened up about going completely sober for 5 months. And while she does have her own wine brand, 7 Daughters, she clarified that she still enjoys wine periodically, but recognized that sometimes, to stay fully present and protect her mental peace, she needed to step all the way back.
Anymore? How did that?
I do have my wine brand, and I love my 7 Daughters, but I do take breaks. For 5 months, I had stopped drinking because I felt like I needed clarity. I needed to get rid of some negative energy that was in my life that I couldn't see. Because, and not to say that I have a drinking problem or anything like that. I just think like you fast sometimes because you need to reset your system. I did this sobriety for like 5 months. And then, when I have to promote my wine, and I do really like my 7 Daughters, but it's it's low in calories and it doesn't get you like plastic.
In another unfiltered moment, Taraji confessed that her struggles with severe anxiety and depression were driving her to self-medicate. And that is actually where her now famous soul-cleansing solo trip to Bali came from. She realized that smoking and drinking to escape her reality was not dealing with the underlying emotional weight of being a Black woman in a demanding and often exploitative industry. She had to drop everything, go completely off the grid, and eat, pray, love her way back to herself. But while Taraji is publicly talking about clarity and system resets, the streets are whispering a completely different version of events. Industry insiders are alleging that her drinking had crossed well past the point of taking the edge off, that it had made her flat-out unpredictable, difficult to insure, and risky to hire. And the timing of all this feels suspicious to me, because this is all surfacing right after Taraji has been among the most vocal voices in Hollywood about being underpaid and undervalued. She has said multiple times, including very recently, that she has had to fight tooth and nail just to be compensated fairly for major roles she brought to life.
I still don't feel like I'm getting paid what I deserve. Today, I haven't gotten a raise or paid. I've been getting the same amount for films since, I think it was Proud Mary.
Since Proud Mary, which was what year?
2018 was when I finally got a real quote. I haven't gotten a raise since then. And each and every project that I have to fight for that.
You still have to fight.
I have to fight.
Taraji also revealed in a separate interview with the SAG-AFTRA Foundation that things got so dire that she let her entire team go. Because after Empire wrapped in 2020, she had no film roles and no endorsements lined up whatsoever. She mentioned that her team had pitched a continuation centered on her iconic Cookie character. And while she was open to it if they got it right, they failed to deliver, and she had no choice but to move on without them.
Representation-wise,
Firing everybody after Cookie. Everybody had to go.
where is my deal? Where is my commercial? Cookie was top of the fashion game. Where is my endorsement? What did you have set up for after this? That's why y'all haven't seen me in so long. They had nothing set up. All they wanted was another Cookie show. And I said, I'll do it, but it has to be right. The people deserve. She's too beloved for y'all to f it up. And so when they didn't get it right, I was like, well, that's it. And then they had nothing else.
And Taraji went even deeper when she sat down with the New York Times about the color purple, revealing she nearly walked away from the film entirely over the pay and working conditions. She also disclosed that she was made to audition for the role of Shug Avery, despite being director Blitz Bazawul's #1 choice, despite her Empire success, and despite having an Oscar nomination and a Golden Globe win to her name. And then the video started circulating. Clips where Taraji visibly appeared to be fighting back tears, looking like someone who felt deeply slighted. Fans noticed how Oprah moved away from Taraji to pose next to Danielle Brooks, and how Oprah's smile noticeably widened in doing so, while Fantasia Barrino looked over at Taraji with visible concern. The rants that followed only made things worse. Oprah was getting hammered in the press for allegedly mistreating her cast. And even after publicly posting about Taraji, the backlash would not stop.
About this whole Taraji, you know, I heard I was trending yesterday because people are saying that I was not supporting Taraji. Taraji will tell you herself that I've been the greatest champion of this film, championing not only the behind the scenes production, but also everything that everybody needed. So whenever I heard that there was something that people needed, I'm not in charge of the budget because that's Warner Brothers. You know, that's the way the studio system works. And we as producers, everybody gets their salary that's negotiated by your team. And so whenever I heard there was an issue or there was a problem with the cars or there was a problem with the food, I would step in and do whatever I could to make it right. And I believe that she would even vouch for that.
Regardless of what either woman said publicly, the damage was done, and the color purple paid the price at the box office. Reports emerged that the executive producers held an emergency conference call with Oprah, blaming both her and Taraji for the flop. The film reportedly went direct to DVD while still in theaters as producers scrambled to recoup losses. And the sentiment in that room was that Oprah should have managed Taraji and kept things contained before she started airing grievances during the press tour. Allegedly, those same executives declared that Taraji would be blackballed for what they felt she had cost them. And it did not help that Taraji had been loudly vocal about pay disparity in Hollywood, especially after she was not nominated for the Golden Globes, while Fantasia Barrino and Danielle Brooks both received nominations for their performances. Shortly after all of this is when the industry rumors really started gaining momentum, with sources claiming that Taraji's public admissions about anxiety and using alcohol to numb out were actually the surface layer of a far messier situation happening behind closed doors. Taraji has openly admitted she is terrible at auditioning, and now sources are alleging that the numbing out before major meetings and auditions was making her appear unprepared or erratic, which is why the blockbuster roles she deserved were not materializing. And the team she fired in late 2023 for failing to capitalize on her Empire momentum, rumors are now swirling that her representation actually walked because managing her lifestyle had simply become unmanageable. Now her fans find all of this ridiculous. Because Taraji has clearly stated she does not have a drinking problem and chose sobriety fasts. Purely for clarity, and to rid her life of negative energy she could not see clearly. And instead of Hollywood addressing the fact that an Oscar-nominated Golden Globe-winning household name was still fighting for basic on-set accommodations like a rental car instead of driving herself, anonymous sources started leaking that she was unmanageable. And her honest admissions about anxiety and coping suddenly became weapons used to justify shutting her out. But then again, hear me out. Maybe it is also possible that Taraji was so deep inside her own coping mechanisms that she genuinely could not see how it was bleeding into her work. When you are dealing with high-functioning anxiety, you often believe you are holding everything together perfectly, while everyone around you can already see the cracks forming. If she was consistently numbing just to get through the day, could that have translated to missed cues, foggy auditions, or an energy on set that made producers quietly hesitate before signing her name to a multi-million-dollar contract? Maybe the alcohol did damage her career in ways she never fully recognized. I genuinely do not know, because when it comes to Taraji, there have always been completely divided opinions, with some saying she is too much and others saying she deserves so much more. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely want to know what you think is really going on with her.